How y'all doing, man? White Chalk Podcast, special episode for y'all. We want to bring awareness to, date rape and all of the sick, twisted things that happen in the nightlife. We're going to all give our perspective and let y'all decide, how y'all feel about it. So as we get into this, my name is King Ace, founder of White Chalk Podcast. I'm going to let my beautiful guests introduce themselves. Starting with you.
I'm pretty, and I'm a part of the foundation of White Yellow Tape White Chalk, and I'm the assistant today.
And I am Taryn Young. I will be telling my story about all of the different men that date rape me, and again, like he said, wanting to bring awareness to date rape and all of that.
Okay, as we get into it, you can tell your story and we interject when we feel it's feasible.
Okay. Um, so basically, to start it all off, I will kind of let y'all know like where my mindset was around the time that it happened. I was just getting out of like a horrible, like toxic, the most you could probably imagine a guy could do. Like it was just bad. Um, and I was very new to the nightlife, and I was very new to drinking. So much that people were literally telling me how green I was, and I kind of had to find out the hard way, like what that meant. Yeah, I know it's yeah, but yeah. So I was just very much not in a mind space to be presented to the nightlife, be presented to drinking. Like I just had too much going on. So I had started, going out and stuff like that, and I had met this promoter, and the reason I keep talking about this one scenario is because this scenario is what made me even realize that I had been date raped. And then, went back and backtracked and was like, okay, wait, that happened like a few times with different people, and I just didn't know what it was then.
Right.
And give me a second. I'm sorry, my anxiety goes so
You
nuts
alright.
when I do all this. So I'm
Alright.
like
Take your
shaking,
time.
trying to.
Take your
Okay.
time.
And I had met him out. He was like wanting to fuck with me. I was basically like, no, I'm not on that. He's like, okay, well, I'm a promoter, just come out with me and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay. um, and I had let him know like I wasn't trying to be alone with him. He had invited me out like that Thursday before it happened, because it happened on a Friday night, to come over and like drink wine with him and like chill with him. And I was like, no, like I don't want to be alone with you. Da 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 da. So that was like my second time basically telling him. Um, and then he had told me that they were going out that night, the promotion group that he had, was wanting me to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we're gonna pregame here before we go. So I'm like, oh, okay, we, not me and you, like, we, like
Yeah,
a group.
yes.
More than yes, more than just me and you.
Yes.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. So I had got dropped off there, and once I went inside, I realized like nobody else was there. Um, and a lot of people be like, oh, well, there were so many red flags. Yeah, you're able to notice them because you weren't in the situation, as well as I had so much going on that I wasn't even really picking up on them. I did address, like, why is nobody here? Like, I had already specified, like, I didn't want to be alone. He
Mm-hmm.
was just like, oh no, it was a miscommunication, da da da. I want to say that he was saying that he was still getting ready. So that's why we went up to his room so he could finish getting ready. And he was asking, like if I was ready to pregame. And he had offered like wine at first, and I was like, no, like I don't want to mix. I had
Wait,
a really
up to his
bad.
bedroom.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. And he was like, wanted me to drink the wine, and I was just like, no, like I had a bad experience with mixing. I don't want to do that. So he brought the liquor. And again, another thing, I didn't go with him to get the liquor, so I'm gonna try to point out the red flags because somebody asked me them yesterday, and I was like, okay, in my next interview, I'm gonna try to point out certain red flags that
Right.
most people should just like look for. Um, and so yeah, I again didn't think anything of it. We started playing a game, um, and it's funny to see these little colors right here because it was literally like a glow, like light up game that you like hit, follow the pattern,
Mm-hmm.
repeat the pattern game. And the next thing I know, I literally just wake up to him trying to put his dick in my mouth. I remember him like his like thumb or something, like trying to put my mouth down.
Like how long after from the time
I
I went into the
don't
room?
know. I don't know. And that was what was just more so like how long have I been here, but when I timed it to where I like, looked at the messages about when I was arriving, and really looked at like the videos. At the time, I think I was able to look at the message. I don't have them anymore, but I took videos while I was there before we started drinking and stuff like that. I had took videos in his bathroom, so I was able to time it from when I had took the videos to whenever we had actually like went out that night, like what was my next video after the fact. And it was a couple of hours, and it was just more so of like I shouldn't have got that drunk. I had been drinking, and
Before you got there, you was drinking.
um no, not before I got there. Just in general, like I had been drinking a lot that year.
Okay. Okay.
Or going into that time, not that year, because it was just like a month or so after I broke up with my ex. And so I kind of, I just didn't feel like what we were taking should have got me to that level. And I remember I remember waking up and him getting a phone call, and then I'm basically, coming to or trying to come to. And I think that was the only reason why he didn't put his dick in my mouth, is because he was realizing that I was coming to. But when I finally did, then that's when I asked him, and he told me, like what happened and stuff like that. He even told me that we had like went out to get something to eat, and I just had no recollection of anything. I was like, did I go with you? Like, did you have to help me?
Did y'all end up going to the club that night?
Yes. And
so this after y'all went to the club or before?
No, this was before we went to the club.
Okay.
Yes, this happened before we went to the club. And I was just like trying to come to. I was just really out of it, and he was saying that we had like ate. He had told me like my order, and I am like really OCD. I get damn near the same thing at like every place I go to. So he repeated my order back to me, and I'm like, I just met him. There's no way he would have known it. And yeah, I ended up very drunk that night. I have some videos of it and stuff like that. But I was just so out of it, like during the entire time, that I literally don't remember. And
you remember the club? Remember when you went to the club?
When I watched the videos, that stuff seemed like, okay, I can kind of like remember that and stuff like that. Like, okay,
Right.
that seems familiar. Other than really, if I didn't like take any videos, I don't know if I would have or not. But I know I remember him. I remember waking up and him telling me the story. I don't remember us driving to the club. Again, like the videos kind of helped me put more two and two together and stuff like that. But I remember I just felt so just about it. But again, that had happened before, and so I wasn't.
Why didn't you just leave after the club?
No, I did. I didn't stay the night. Like
after the club.
Yeah, no, I didn't stay the night. I ended up like going home and stuff like
After
that.
the club.
Yeah, after the club. But after that happened, it wasn't. Again, I was really out of it, so nothing about it seemed wrong in the moment. I know I was just like, well, damn, I didn't mean to get that drunk, and damn, we had sex, and I didn't want to have sex with him, but
Yeah, did have sex?
Yes.
Was he drinking?
Was he drinking too?
Yes. And a lot of people in the comments were like, well, how do we know some of these people, weren't as drunk as you, or, you didn't do it to them? Well, at the point that I'm waking up and not remembering any of that, and you are able to remember it and tell me, that lets me know that we were not the same drunk, because you're able to remember it.
Have you ever blacked out and was still coherent though? Because it's two levels to blacking out. You could black out and be done for the night, or and go to sleep and completely black out, or you can still have a whole night
and not remember
it. Just not remember it.
So both. I've had both, and a lot of people that were around me like were noticing it. They'd be like, you get so drunk sometimes that you don't remember things and stuff like that. And a lot of these dudes I was friends with. Some of them were like random dudes, but a lot of them I was friends with, and so they knew that about me. And again, I just was not in a state to be like, oh, well, these people are going to do this or these people are going to do that. And I didn't know what date rape was. I didn't know that waking up and not remembering having sex with this person meant that that's what happened to me. And at the point that they were able to remember it, because it would have been different if we both wake up and we're like, oh, did we have sex? Like, I don't remember that. Like, do you remember that? Like, know, like us both not knowing, that's different. At the point that you're able to remember and then tell me a story.
So I want to plays devil advocate in that scenario. So if a
Okay.
guy is with you and y'all going out and y'all both drinking, and y'all having a good time, y'all go back to your house or his house, and y'all both drunk, but you just don't remember. But he remembers some details, but he might not remember everything as well. You feel like that's date rape?
At the point that I'm not able to recall any of the sexual encounter that you're stating happened, because if you didn't state it, I wouldn't have even known it happened. That is date rape.
But do you so in date rape, when you consider it being date rape, at what point do you feel that the other party is held responsible enough to know that you're blacked out?
Okay. I think at the moment, again, most of these people I would be around. The people who were not really knowing like how I was when I was drunk, I could understand that. You're not, really knowing. But for the most part, any normal person, especially that drinks or is around or seen anybody that drinks, you can tell when somebody's drunk.
Yeah, you can.
Like you can,
I
it's
agree.
not
I done been with women when they are too drunk and I'm not drunk and I won't push the issue. But I've also been with women when we both drunk and we get back to my house and we have sex.
And then
I'm drunk and she's drunk and we have sex.
And then y'all both remember the next morning.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Of course, I had drunk sex. That was never a problem. And a lot of these people, I had it with. A lot of these people, I've had sex with numerous times.
Right.
It could have just been one time or two times. Like regardless, it happened once with every single one of them. And at the point that we're both drunk, that's fine. That's not a problem. But at the point that one of us wakes up the next morning and doesn't remember any of the sexual encounter, like that's rape.
I can see. Only reason why I would look at it in a different perspective, only because I'm a drinker and I blacks out. I do it a lot, but I usually all the time drink with people that I know can look over me, whether it's friends, whether it's my partner or not. And it's a lot of times where I've had drunk sex with my partner and I woke up and I don't remember it. But I can't consider that. But I'm not gonna say I can't, I don't consider that as if I was raped. Like, it's just like I just don't remember it, but we both were drunk. Maybe he remember more details than I do, but just because I don't remember none and he remembers some, I wouldn't consider that like I got raped.
And I could understand that. It definitely, again, it took a lot for me to truly grasp like everything that happened. But if you were to look up date rape in the Texas law, that is date rape. You not remembering and them remembering any of it is date rape. Whether they're your partner, whether they're your husband, like that's just under, again, the law, the technicality, whatever. When you look up date rape, there is so many different things that fall under that. If a guy is trying to coerce you, or is that's how they got you to have sex, that is a form of date rape. There is so many different things that fall
I
under
can agree
the
with
line.
that. Now, someone using that as a weapon,
yes, or pushing alcohol, like, hey, drink this, like, just drink, like, come on, let's drink, like, come on, like, that's date rape. Like, there's so many different forms of it that, and again, that's why I keep doing these videos and keep posting. I cannot tell you how much I fucking hate posting and seeing these men's faces. It does so much to my everything, but so many people just don't know exactly what date rape is and like what falls under those lines. But I mean, and I'm not trying to tell you what to think or how to think. I would just more so say, if you are willing to just look up deeper into it, but that is that. And I'm not saying that your partner, had the ill intent or was, being malicious with it. Like, he could have thought you were good and you thought, he was good and stuff like that. I specified in my videos that it wasn't to attack any of these men or to say that any of these men purposely did it. Now, the one that's in jail for being a serial rapist right now, literally having HIV when he date raped me, that is somebody that I would definitely be like, no, you did that. You purposely drugged me or did something to do this. You knew I didn't want to have sex. You knew we weren't on that time. Like, and there is a couple other ones, but him mainly, I would be like, no, you definitely do this. And obviously he does. There's more women. He's stupid enough to keep evidence of him doing this to us. So I'm the fifth person on the case. But again, I keep posting all this because there's other women out there in Dallas, Houston, Georgia, I think was the other one. That he's done it to. And so the police are trying to get, as many people that, basically bring awareness to it as well, so those women can come forward and stuff like that, and hopefully get tested and stuff like that. They said
Now, this guy right here that you're talking about, do you feel of the other 9 people that they fall in that same category as he does?
So there's actually 13. So the other 12 people, no, I don't know which ones. I feel like there are some that purposely get women drunk to do these things, as well as it's almost like my brain won't let me believe that some of them that I grew up with, known since my freshman year of high school. I graduated in 2015. I would still hang around until I found out about all this. It's hard for me to grasp, but they would do this. I was really close with at least 2 of them, but I don't know. And I can't just be like, they didn't mean to do it. As well as, if I didn't post my video, I wouldn't have had so many other women come forward to me about either the same man on my video or other promoters or other people that I would be around or know of, or just random people.
Right.
And so it's like, now it seems like, okay, this might be something you do, and whether you know that you're doing it or not, you're doing it. If I accidentally hit you in my car and I kill you, regardless of if that was my intent for the day or intent in that moment, it still happened. You're still dead.
So the people in the comments, their rebuttal is going to be, so where's the accountability? Where's your accountability?
Oh, my accountability is the fact that I beat myself about it every fucking day and have been.
I'm speaking about not putting yourself in these predicaments. You said you have it said 12 times?
13 times.
13 times.
Yeah,
knowing your limit and not allowing
the
yourself
fact
to be in
that
these positions.
people feel like there needs to be some form of accountability, obviously now looking back at it, just like anybody can do, and anytime somebody is put in a horrible situation, like I just want y'all to even try to think of one, and in the video or whatever, think about a horrible time in your life. Are you able to now look back and be like, okay, I should have did this, I should have did that? You're better to assess after being in it, experiencing it, going through it, and being able to look back at it. In that moment, even when you're watching a movie, you'd be like, no, bitch, don't go through that door, or no, don't do that, or, you should have did this, because you're not in that mindset. Your brain is not in that level to where you're basically clear-headed and looking at a situation clear-headed, when those people in those moments, they're not clear-headed. If I knew that was a pattern,
given a situation where like that's something you can't say, like you just use the example of like watching a movie and you seeing something about to happen that you have no knowledge of the outcome of it, but if you watch that same movie 13 times, it's like, at what point would you hold yourself responsible to take the accountability to not lash out because you know what's going to happen?
But again, you're saying watch it, you're not saying be in it. Somebody being in something and then somebody watching something are 2 completely different things. If I show you a video of somebody in a pool with a shark, you're going to be able to be like, oh, I would do this or I would do that. If I put you in a pool with a shark, are you going to be thinking of all those things? Like, no, like your brain in certain situations does not, it's just not thinking like that. And again, that's why I wanted to start off with where my mindset was, because now looking back at it, yes, I don't understand how I allowed myself, why I was, but I still was. I just was not in a clear enough space in those moments to be in the situations that I was allowing myself to be in. I didn't care. I was just trying to have fun. I was drinking. I was partying. Again, I was green, so I'm trusting that people are not shit people. I grew up with strict parents. Until I was 18 years old, I could count on one hand how many parties I had been to. I then got in a 4-year relationship and then a 2-year relationship, and that 2-year relationship was the toxic one. And so that was, again, me coming out into the world. I really was just like thrown to the wolves in a sense. And again, it's not saying that these people purposely did this or not, but they still did it. And when people are like, oh, the accountability, well, now I know. Now I can better assess and better look at things. But there's so many women that message me that are like, that's happened to me and I didn't know. So it's not to say that it didn't happen to them again. Most people that are sexually assaulted are more prone to getting sexually assaulted than somebody that hasn't. I don't know why, but they just are.
Now, I want to get back to the when you broke down like the technical definition of date rape, and you basically it's like you having sex and waking up the next morning not remembering it happened. That the other party technically raped you, date raped you. Now, when we come down to technicality, it's sometimes where you could like draw the line between that, because that's like, just to say for instance, you are a person that got in trouble or went to jail for jaywalking or went to jail for harassing somebody, but the situation is not exactly
Yeah.
what the definition make it seem, but technically,
Yeah.
to the law, to the system, you are a criminal. But do that make you a criminal at heart, or that make you a criminal as
Right.
a person? No. So
I actually really like that. Okay, I like that viewpoint. I haven't thought about it like that. I think the reason that I stick with, again, there's so many different things that fall under the term date rape. I think I stick with the not remembering, to basically meaning that I was not able or in the right mind enough to give consent because I don't remember. That's why I say date rape. That's why I stick with that. And I try to put emphasis on date rape, not just because people hear the word date rape and they think rape and they run with it, or they think
when you
they
hear
drugged.
date rape, you feel like somebody spiked.
Yes, drugged it, or it was forceful,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Spiked the
There's
drink.
so much more to it than that. It doesn't mean that. I'm not saying that these men went and drugged me. I'm not saying these men went and forced me to drink. I was drinking so much.
but that
I
term
like to
date
drink.
rape
Yeah, rape
holds
is just a strong.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
of course it does. It's
so
You
it's
speak-
like,
you said person.
do certain men, which is the one that you say is in jail, things from that
He may have
background,
been
I feel
plotting.
like
He might have been
that was a plot, and I
evil
feel like he
intent.
could be labeled as a date rapist
Yeah.
in your standpoint. But some of the other men, that's even the promoter guy, for that example and that story in the background, I get from that, I get that he was just a guy who you had sex with. And did you ever think about the fact of if these people date raped you, or is it really regret?
Of course I have, especially with all the comments. They almost make me feel like they almost make me feel like exactly what they're saying, like she's lying and stuff like that. It didn't happen to her, because I get so much of the negativity. But no, it's not regret. I don't give a fuck about my list or how many people I slept with. Anybody that I fuck with, I let them know off rip. My list is fucking crazy. I don't even know my damn number, nor do I think that that is an indicator of anything. So what about my body count or whatever? Like, who gives a fuck about that? It was not about, oh, I don't want these, because some people were like, she doesn't want these names to count. Even if I was pulled off the street, raped, and could remember it, to me, that body count would still count. That's still somebody I had sex with, whether I wanted to or not. And I wouldn't be like, oh, they did it because I want to take it off my list or regret it. Regret it for what? I'm fucking young. Yes, I like to have sex. Yes, I like to drink. Yes, I like to party, or I guess party then. I don't party now, but regardless of that, it's like, no, it's not oh, I regret it, so I'm saying this or doing that, or I, am upset that they don't want to be with me, or that they got girlfriends. There was just so many different comments. And I'm just like, no, I don't care to be with these people. This isn't because we were on bad terms. A lot of them thought we were on good terms. Again, I was friends with most of them. None of them knew when I cut them off why I cut them off. And they would literally hit me up and be like, hey, why'd you unfollow me? Or why aren't you, talking to me no more? Like, they were so confused because I never addressed them with it. I didn't want to. I didn't want to think about it. I couldn't think about it. I had too much going on in my head that I still had to work through, that my brain literally, it felt like it put it off until I was able to feel like I could breathe and be fine and now go through shit that I was putting off. And it had just been on my mind for months now, for months before I made the first video addressing it. And I just couldn't not say anything. And when I found out that that dude was in jail, that he was known for a serial rapist, that he kept evidence, that he had HIV, I found out from a random girl that saw my video. If I would have never posted that video, I would have never saw it. And if I would have posted about him, maybe that would have stopped that from happening to her or any of these women. I know you say like he has a story or he, was locked up, so you're more so able to believe that situation because none of these other men are in jail or none of these other men have other women coming out against them. But it's so hard as
the
a
HIV
victim.
is what sold me with him.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there's him keeping evidence of me is more so what sold me of him. I don't ever want to see it, nor.
Because when you say evidence, what do you mean? Like videos and.
He kept videos and pictures of the women that he did it to. Yes, and I was amongst those.
See, I was things like that is what I look at it is like I can't name not one person I know in life who don't have a video or a picture of somebody they had sex with. So
that is not what makes it the date rape. What makes it the date rape is that I don't remember, and again with him not telling me he has HIV, just everything that falls in those lines. Now, yes, of course people record. There's porn, like. Right. Of course, like, and people in relationships or people, whatever, yeah, let me record fucking. But if that person doesn't remember, you just recorded you date raping that person. And I was, to be more technical, very much passed out, as they put it. They didn't show me. They told me certain things.
So you don't believe in none of these scenarios that none of these guys was just as drunk as you? You was at the club popping bottles.
No. And you also gotta think, if me and you,
we go to the club,
we're not that different in size, okay? Right. You're obviously bigger than me, but we're not that different. If we go out and drink, you are going to get way less drunk than what I'm getting.
But you never know.
No, you're right. You're right. Or maybe you didn't eat, and maybe I ate. All those different things. The reason that I know that they were not as drunk as me was because they're able to remember it. They're able to give me an explanation, a story.
It might have a higher tolerance than you.
That's fine, regardless.
They wasn't as drunk. I just had a birthday party when I bought 4 or 5 bottles. And there was a bunch of females with us, and we all was drunk. We all went out. We left. So
you can be drunk. You can even be just, I'm about to pass out drunk and still remember things. It's at the point that you don't remember, that is where the line is crossed.
My thing is what that is. How can someone else be held responsible to know that you are blacked out, but they're not? Because you could be coherent and still be blacked out. You could, because I've done it several times.
No, me too. We're just don't even remember.
How can you hold that other party responsible to technically label them as a date rapist? Because that's what that is. In other words, you're labeling someone as a date rapist that doesn't even know that you are blacked out, but you're still a willing participant in the sexual acts.
Yeah. So, and I obviously understand that. It's again, it just goes back to, you can tell when somebody's drunk, and just because the stories that they told me wasn't, oh yeah, you were literally fighting me, oh yeah, you were literally passed out and like a dead body and I fucked you, or oh yeah, you were screaming or crying or telling me that you didn't want it or telling me to stop. Who's gonna tell somebody that? The people want to hear, some people message me, they want to hear exactly what happened with each of these people. And I'm like, the way y'all want to know, I want to know more. I am literally going based off of what somebody else is telling me, and now I realize that their judgment can't be trusted because they fall in the lines of date raping me, because I don't remember this sexual encounter, but they do, and they're able to tell me, oh yeah, well, we came home, we did this, I drove us, whatever the story may entail.
I feel like the key word because I'm a law student, and when it comes to these things, the key word is intent.
Okay.
And that's just the bottom line when it comes down to, like, if this is in the court and it was a person was at trial for their life, the jury want to know what was the person's intent. So that's just the question.
But I and again, I stated that in my videos. I don't know their intent, but that doesn't mean just because I don't know their intent that wasn't their intent.
Right. So we don't. But I'm saying we don't know.
And it goes vice versa.
But both ways. you said some of the people that you grew up with them and
Yeah.
you knew them, so they probably didn't have the intention that some of them may have had that intention. I agree with you, but you call label all these people, that's a strong word.
It is, and that's why I stated it, and that's why I post about it and keep posting about it, because I know what was done to me, and I know that with it being so many men, it's just so hard to believe, and then with there being no proof, and I don't know what people mean by proof, as if people are going to be texting me the next day, oh yeah, you date raped me, or yeah, you know,
They
this
just
or
want
that.
proof because that's
I
a
understand
major
that. I understand that.
accusation
But
against
if you
somebody.
need
So at the
proof,
same time,
at that point, it doesn't
13
matter what
people-
was said. It
but
doesn't
if
matter.
13 people are being accused of being a rapist, that's just
You
like
gotta
if
have
someone
intent.
said that to you and say, "Oh, I felt like," because what if one of the men felt the same way about you, and it's like, what proof do you have to label this girl as a rapist?
But you're saying they feel the same way at the point that they're able to tell me what happened. That is how I know that it wasn't. And again, I'm going based off of what they say. I don't know how it went. I don't remember it. And so I'm having to go based off of what they say. And again, I don't even know. Like, did you film it? They could have evidence. And again, there's been so many women that has came to me about almost all of the men on my list that they've done it to them. They've heard about they had it done to their friend,
But
or
maybe
that
it's
they've
people
done.
in agreement with you that's just seeing it from your point of view, because it could have been the same situation with these same men, with the same women, that they had sex, that they both were drunk, one blacked out but was still coherent. It's like,
You're saying
yes, he
blacked
had-
out and still coherent, but you can be blacked out coherent, okay, enough to get to the situation or to do the
and
situation.
don't remember it.
And yes, and don't remember it. The not remembering is when it becomes that. If
Yeah, but
somebody's
as a
intentions
person-
or not, it's still the thing still happened, even
No,
if
but
they
no.
meant to
But-
or
but
not.
if they did not
Let me-
intend to rape.
attention, if we talking about like a person being convicted beyond a reasonable doubt in the court. Intent is a prerequisite to that. For a person being convicted of this crime, you got to prove intent. A person committed murder, you got to prove they had what the intent was. If you say if you accusing a person of rape in the court of law, you have to establish they had this intent to do this. You can't. That's one of the elements of the crime for rape.
Well,
is intent.
rape.
Yeah, or
Is-
any
okay, but
intentional crime, murder.
because rape
Date
and
rape
date
too.
rape, that again, there's so many different things that fall under those lines. So, in order to prove intent, I don't know how any rape victim would do that. If a random person were to pull somebody off the street and rape them, what proof would they have? Even if they went to get a date rape kit, they could have just, how y'all are being, or not y'all, but you know how people are in the comments are like, well, what if they just regretted it? Well, how do you prove that? Like, how do you prove these things? I feel like
I didn't know this person. He broke into my house. He raped me.
not broke into
Physically
the house,
assaulted me.
but pulled you off the street. You're just on the street, and
Yeah.
but again, you're telling somebody all this in the hopes that they would believe you. My story is not for anybody to believe what I'm saying. It's to bring awareness to date rape.
Right.
My story is going to be difficult for anybody to accept because it was difficult for me to accept. It
But
happened
also
to
not
me.
mislead people to think that because you got so drunk that you didn't remember, does not mean that this man intended to get you that drunk
Of course.
to have sex
And again,
with you.
I in my videos I literally state that I do not know whose intentions it was to purposely do this or not, but regardless they still did it. And I stated that, and I stated that it wasn't to bash.
Some creep ass dudes out here that be plotting. So.
It
I see both
is.
sides.
And
Yeah, I know. I
There's dudes
definitely do. I
that
definitely do.
that try to
too.
get a girl drunk, and they want to take advantage. So it is some creep
It is
ass
a lot
Yes,
of
dudes.
women
and
that
I-
just claim rape as well. Not you, but like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a lot of white
And
women.
I-
Like
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, not
saying
just
rape,
white.
rape,
There's lots
rape.
of
Yeah,
women,
no,
but
it is. But
there's
I have
definitely lots of
experienced
people.
it with
Yes, and that's
more of
why,
that.
and that's why I hate that. And some people are like, she's making it harder, and I'm just like, y'all don't even understand that. If y'all just stop to think, what if this did happen to her, and what is me and what I'm saying doing? Because you guys, just knowing that it happened to me is already too much.
Right.
Me sharing this with other people,
It's a
hearing
lot.
other people's point of views is a lot.
Yes.
Receiving all the back, like, people don't understand, and it's like they're just so, they hear one word and they just run with it, or they feel like they know And it's like, you really don't. But there are people that lie on this. I would never. Anybody that knows me would literally be like, she is like, I'm a very much believe the victim. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people. I will, if you're proven that it was, that you were lying, I hope that there is a worse fucking place in hell for you, because that is exactly what you're saying, a very serious accusation to put on somebody. I completely understand that. And a lot of these men are black men. I'm mixed with black. I, understand that it's way worse for black men than it is for almost any other men out there. So I very much thought really hard about what I was doing before I did it. I just did not. I guess I thought I was way more prepared to deal with all the emotional and mental stuff that was like gonna come with it and stuff like that. Because I wasn't. It is a lot. I don't need to go into detail. It is just a lot on my everything. I literally lost my job because I had to leave work sometimes. Because I would get triggered. One of the times I had to leave work, it was whenever the detective called me to tell me they found evidence of me on his phone of him date raping me. There's just been so many different things, and I literally lost my job because I'm not able to work right now. Basically, my mental is just, it is just not there. And that's why I'm like, people are like, oh, she's doing this for this, she's doing this for that. Even if it was for money or for clout, nothing would be like, nothing is worth dealing with what I'm dealing with mentally. It just everything, physically, emotionally, the stuff I'm putting on my partner, my family, my friends, like they are very much my rock throughout all of this. But still, it's still just too much that it's like, it would be pointless for me to accuse one, let alone 13 different men with 13 different opinions, 13 different followings, 13 different families, 13 different friends, to all invite all that negativity for nothing. If I wasn't 100% sure that these men did what I am saying that they did. And again, I said in my video, I'm not sure which one of them, or if any of them, besides the one that's in jail, purposely date raped me. But they still did it regardless. And I want to bring